This is Stephen in Wiltshire, England. It's Thursday, it's 10 o'clock, it's time for Blabbing for Britain. I'm here. Well, I'll show you that I'm here. I'm here, and fun-packed show today. But first thing I want to do is talk about something which starts on Monday, which is 5 Days Live. And 5 Days Live is 7 of my good friends and myself getting together to talk all about how you can have a successful live video show. And we kick off on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. in the UK, with Brigitte Limbanda, David Burrows, Linda West, and myself. That's 4 out of the team. And we'll be talking about how to build your brand on BeLive.tv. So, welcome. And the show's all mine. So welcome to the show. And this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 145 on BeLive.tv. Shout out to BeLive.tv. Birthday's coming up incredibly. They've been broadcasting, or we've been broadcasting on BeLive for the best part of 2 years. In fact, the second birthday of BeLive.tv is on October the 15th. And we say hello to Alfredo, who is most definitely up early at 5 o'clock, or even earlier. So welcome for Alfredo, and welcome to anybody else who's watching. And I know that signs of life in the lobby. This is always good. I can see somebody adjusting their camera. It's well. Let's do this. Let's go from one person on screen to two people on screen as we welcome Mr. John Upton. Hello.
Hiya.
Hiya. We can see and hear you. Are you good?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm good. Sun's shining again. 61 degrees down here today somewhere. So
it's definitely sunny. I couldn't have a clue what the temperature is there.
It's okay. I looked at AccuWeather to tell me what it was. Okay, and Alfredo's saying the rest of the team is coming, and we welcome from Stoke, England.
Good morning, how are we?
Mr. Stephen Silk. Good morning, we're well. And you, sir? Let's do the weather thing first.
Oh, well, 95 degrees, the sun is shining, the wind gently breathing through the ocean, the beaches. Oh, it's lovely here. Stoke on the edge of the world.
You're in the middle of the country, my friend, miles away from any sea.
Yes, it's the sea of the imagination.
Oh, right, okay. Good morning.
Morning, how are we?
We're good. Right, okay, so this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 145. And we're going to start off with a little fairy tale. Well, it's not a fairy tale, it's unfortunately a true story. And it's been uncovered that the Skripal suspect was in fact made a hero of Russia by President Putin in 2014-15. So he's not who he portrays himself to be on television, is he?
This is an amazing. It's a Tom Clancy novel. This is all of this stuff. Russia, Trump, Brexit. It's all part of Putin's evil plan to take over the world. You couldn't write a novel like this.
You couldn't. We'll come to a television series which took the nation by storm later on in the broadcast. But it is like more like fiction than fact, isn't it? And say good morning to Tish. And Tish said she said good morning before, but didn't see it. If you're watching anywhere apart from BeLive in 5, you'll find the link, the live link up above. Just click that, and you can join us and talk.
As he doesn't get it yet.
It's just
No, I can't see anything out of them, so I thought I'd better give them a bit of a wipe.
Oh, right, okay. Right, okay, so we've taken into account the latest news from Russia.
I mean,
That's better.
there's loads of reporting on us, isn't there? And it's all over the front pages, isn't it? And May's sitting next. I don't know. Does Putin go to the United Nations? He doesn't, does he? in New York, the General Assembly. They send an officer.
President Trump does.
I'm sorry, Steve.
No, careful. I know.
Yes.
Temperature's running high.
It's just words have actually failed me on that expletive. And look what you've got going on today in the Senate committee. You've got a guy who's a Trump fanatic.
Kavanagh.
Kavanagh. The only judge he could find who would say, "Oh no, the president can't be convicted of a crime," and he's up to the committee, which is run by the evil Republican junta. And there's 3 ladies who have made sexual assault allegations.
4 ladies.
4 now.
Yeah.
And you know, you'd like to think that this just can't happen, but this is the second time that I saw the film actually about this lady 20 years ago who made an accusation against some sort of political appointee, a judge maybe, and she wasn't believed because it was the Republicans, i.e. the bad party, just ignored it. And it's just, I mean, Michael Moore's got his new film out now. He talks about Trump being I can't say it, can I?
No, you can't. No.
Getting
water.
A hole in one. There's a picture of him swinging on a golf club. The end is nigh, mate. Forget about Brexit. The end is nigh. Yeah, I want a banner. The end is nigh, really, this time.
You're going to go and stand in Stoke City Centre and
be the one that they point at.
Oh dear. John, are you okay?
What do you
Yeah,
think?
I'm fine. I'm listening to you too.
All right.
What do you think, John? Do you like the Orange Monster?
It just reminds me of the bloke with the Sugar Puffs advert, you know? The Honey Monster.
What about the honey, Mummy? Something like that? Back in the day, wasn't it?
What about the world, Mummy?
It should be
very
Right. Okay. Changing topic then. Something less serious. What are your memories of Freshers Week?
Didn't go to uni.
I didn't go to uni. Well, we don't have any memories of Freshers Week then. But there is. I knew we wouldn't. I mean, back in the day, we had to go to work.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, we had. But say good morning to Claire and just popping in before local Macmillan coffee morning. Thank you, Claire. Great to see you joining us. Freshers Week. Apparently, there's a movement by many of universities to actually support people who don't like going on a bender every night of Freshers Week by having classes or meetings or coffee evenings, or in other words, not everybody wants to get blooded.
That is the thing with youngsters these days. They don't apparently. They don't go out. More and more of the sort of getting high and getting drunk and doing that sort of thing. Smoking's down as well, isn't it? I think amongst youngsters.
It is,
so
yeah.
Maybe getting common sense. We never had it back in the day, lad.
Back in the day, aye.
Did you go to uni?
No. I left school at 17.
Me too, mate. Me too.
Yeah, we went to
University of life.
Went to Trent to be an accountant.
Oh dear.
My line is.
Boring this morning, accountant.
Oh, it's not going to be boring this morning because it never would have been. But it's not going to be boring because hello, Peter.
Hello.
He's here.
I'm here.
How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm tired. I've already done a BNI this morning. 6 o'clock. up and away.
And have you been having
I was
to
at what we call the Tollgate Business Club 6:45, Pete. So, but it was a really good, like yours, I'm guessing, it was a really good thing to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually went to a BNI a couple of weeks ago, and it just so happens that I've got, oh my God, the paperwork.
So let me put you full screen. Can
No,
you
we
show
don't
screen,
need.
please?
Don't worry, we don't need.
Okay.
I don't want to give him too
We're
much because I've got to look after my own. So, but I really enjoyed it. It was good, and because you hear so many. Well, behaviour was bad enough on my OU summer school. Claire, what are you trying to say?
Well, Freshers Week.
So now I did go to that BNI a week or two ago, Pete. But I've got my own groups I go to as well. Did you talk about university and Freshers Week, Pete? Were you a university person?
University? I didn't even go to school. I went down the riverbank.
When I was 4, my dad took us from Sussex to Dunfermline.
Yeah.
So I entered the school education system in Scotland,
Right.
and they were vicious, mean, naughty people.
Yeah.
They were the worst type of teacher I've ever encountered. And I was only 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're left in 9. But unfortunately, I came down to Stoke then, obviously with my family, and I was sent to the local school in Newcastle on Lyme. So I've been 5 years in Scotland talking with an accent, and doing Away in a Manger from Mum and Dad on a tape, which I very quickly deleted back in the day. But so all the kids loved a new young Scottish person to pick on, like. So I got both barrels from both.
Now you get it from me. Life carries on.
You're a darling, you are, Pete. You're a darling compared to those fascists.
Terry's saying not me, which.
Yeah.
So there you are. 5 out of 5 people don't go to university.
All right. Peter,
Why is John?
I'm having trouble in hearing John.
Yeah,
John, John, can you try?
Can you hear me, Peter?
Yeah, very low, though. You're very low.
Have you got a picture? I haven't got a picture of him. Shall I reload?
Yeah. John's reloading first. Let's take this in turns.
Okay.
John's going out and coming
Back
back.
in the day when we spend half the half the broadcast. Can you see me now? What?
Those were the days.
Hello?
Yeah, they've come a long way since then. We can actually turn up and have a show. Now, just keeping on university theme for a moment, although none of us went there and Claire didn't go there either, this is something which is relevant to school life in general. University bosses are calling for a ban on essay writing companies, also known as essay mills.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, basically, your thoughts on it?
Well, I used to work for the local university. I was kind of a link man between the academics and small businesses in the area. But it was certainly plagiarizing was one thing, but then getting somebody to write you a dissertation or whatever the hell it was, it's a really big issue. I mean, the plagiarizing is the much bigger issue, and there are all sorts of apps and systems that go through papers and just sort of say, hold on a minute, you've had this from here and you've had that from there, without giving attribution, which is obviously what we got to do. But I can see it. It's like it's a little bit down from the fake universities, isn't it? University of Toledo or that sort of stuff. Yeah. And private universities as a whole.
But the actual procedure is not illegal, is it? I mean, these SMLs can advertise, they can do anything they like.
Apparently not. No, it's not. It's not illegal to hand a paper in which you haven't written, but they're now saying that they're going to have a go at the companies themselves. Which, good luck to them. I hope it works. But like on the sort of telephone preference service, which stops all the UK companies from doing from pestering you on the phone. You get
Let
them
me see what's shining in my eyes.
all over the bloody place.
Just a minute, we have a technical problem. Just
What's
before I do
causing-
that,
Yeah, you screen, Peter.
that-
Is it my screen that's doing it?
Yeah.
It's annoying
Good morning.
me.
Good morning, Bernice. And Claire is saying it's a total nonsense. It's if it's not your own work, it's basically cheating. Let's
Yeah.
have a close look at Peter then, and see if we can determine the reflection is coming
Got
from.
a lovely smile.
Just as well I had my McLean's, because McLean's means whiteness, and don't you forget it. Remember that advert? McLean's means whiteness, and don't you forget it.
Just a minute, I've got to switch back now. That was too much. Right, okay, and we say good morning to Bernice, as I said, and Tish saying all is good now. That's good. So you can see and hear. We can all see and hear each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you
Right.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Well,
Right.
the problem was that my microphone had fell off my shirt and was on the floor, and I hadn't realised.
Okay. Right now, I watched this and watched every single episode of it, and I thought it was rather spiffing, as we say. Your thoughts on Bodyguard?
Oh, marvellous television. Marvellous. Up until the last hour.
But I don't want to know any more, because we've just started watching it.
Well, what happened was,
Over a period of 6 weeks. No, we won't put any spoilers in, Peter. You're okay. You're okay. We're talking about the reception of the how it's been received in the UK by the majority of people who watched it as being the best BBC drama for yonks.
Yeah. Every so often something comes along that just captures today's society and makes you think what goes on with this. Seeing ministers are people like you and me. They've all got their faults. They'll all have a love life, and some of them are nasty, some of them are nice, and it just shows you what goes on deep within. It's reality. Okay, they've got to spice it up a bit with some of the security services stuff, but that's real life, folks. It's happening out there. And there's a lot more happening with our security services than you know.
Oh yeah, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Claire's saying it was absolutely brilliant, and I think that it was escapism at its best. The story had great credibility. It was well acted,
Yeah.
and it was fast moving. But I was talking. There's always two sides to the story, and a couple who were in the security services were shouting at the television throughout the whole 6 episodes. Yes, we're not spoil the story, but there are enough holes in there. Ignore the holes, the whole thing dramatically and presentation-wise.
I liked how it built up the tension, and there's a big thing now. My dad said these days he doesn't like some programs because the peril that it builds up is so effective, and it makes you feel a little bit, oh, what's going on here? And at an emotional level, it's like actually being involved in it. So it was brilliantly done. As I say, for most of it, it was brilliantly done.
Very good.
But it's done by a guy called Jed Mercurio.
Yeah, Jed. Yeah.
The author director of that Thin Blue Line.
All right.
And what did, and this isn't a spoiler, but at the very end of the show, they said, "Stay tuned for news about." It's not a Thin Blue Line, is it? But they then had a trailer for the Thin Blue Line.
Yeah.
What's the name?
I don't know if it's the Blue Line. The Thin Blue Line was a comedy.
Yeah, I can't remember what. Anyway, he said coming in 2019, and we thought, oh, that's a switch. We were hoping it would be coming next month, because that is just procedural stuff at its best. How to make an interview exciting is craziness. But he's a good, obviously one of the best British producers or directors out there. Absolutely brilliant. And that one set of 6 series is obviously, as people always say, that's worth the television license.
Yeah.
It really is.
Absolutely brilliant. There you go. We did that without any spoilers, Peter.
Curio. Yeah, it's from Stephen's neck of the wood.
Burnley.
Nelson.
Oh, Nelson. Nelson, yes. Nelson, Lancashire. Beautiful place.
Didn't you used to work for Nelson Computer Services or something similar?
But this is the confusing thing, John. You're quite right there. Your memory is still good. Now, I'm going to come on to that as a topic later. But Nelson Computer Services are actually based in Rawtenstall. And it's called Nelson Computer Services because it was originally owned by the brothers Nelson.
Right.
It was the Nelson brothers starting Nelson Computers about 15 miles away from Nelson. That was the thing.
I have an update.
You mean Line of Duty, don't you?
Yeah, I was just about to say it's Line of Duty. Google is our friend.
Right.
Thin Blue Line was a comedy set in a police station, which featured Mr. Bean.
Yes, indeed.
Well, it's not really called Mr. Bean, but it's called. But you know what I mean.
I do, and that was reasonably funny first series.
And I'm going to admit that I didn't watch any of the programs at all of this bodyguard thing.
It's worth it, John. Worth it.
Okay. Yeah.
iPlayer is the thing, right? And no, then. Any of you watch Dragon's Den? This is not about Dragon's Den.
No,
if you watch Dragon's
Den about that, I'm off.
No, it's okay. Scottish Water is to fit top-up taps for water refills in 30 cities, and the first one is going to be outside Scottish Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can take your refillable bottle, and is this the idea of cutting down on plastics?
It's health. We should all drink more water, I would say. It's for health and for that.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't Bristol done that already? But yonks ago.
Could be. But I wanted to bring a Scottish story in because we are one quarter Scottish. And we all.
Very, very good for cyclists that are passing by and need some water to drink. Yeah, very good idea. Yeah.
You're a cyclist, aren't you?
Yeah. Very good.
Definitely.
Do you use Steva, Peter?
Do I use what, sorry?
Steva.
Strava?
Strava.
Strava. Is Steva? I thought it was anyway.
Strava. Yes, I know. Yes, I
It's
do.
the thing that publishes your route and where you've been and goes when you're out.
Yeah.
Because we've had an interesting situation in the West Midlands where some people have had their houses burgled because people looked on social media and can determine a pattern from their cycling history of when they're out the house.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. A guy got, I think it was £51,000 worth of bikes stolen because of Strava. I was watching Strava.
Well, I don't think that was this particular one, because we weren't talking that sort of money in the crimes. But apparently, I mean, I get a sort of 3 times a week update for what's going on in the neighbourhood from West Midlands Police. It's just an email that comes, and this was on that email.
Yeah, they watch Facebook and everything. If you tell me you're going away on holiday, you're telling other people as well. If you tell us on Facebook, there's people watching you, you know. So I'm afraid it's maybe we should have the police watching these sort of things rather than watching other things, if you know what I mean. Right, yes.
Okay.
I like Strava.
Okay.
I did 33 miles on Monday on my bike.
We noticed we follow all your Strava events and the term never again, but you're not being consistent there. Some of them don't have never again on.
Other people put up never again now.
Right, and just catch Claire says you missed a treat, John.
No, sorry.
Okay, and
information. Not my back at all.
You mentioned Mr. Bean. Johnny English Strikes Again debuts on the 26th of October. and that's in the USA, not the UK, just to get it down. And Clary's wondering about people posting on FB from the airport when they're off on their holes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you tell people where you're going, or do you tell people where you've been? That's a more general question on Facebook. Do you tell people before the event or after the event? Peter, you're doing the cycling, you tell the people afterwards.
Yeah.
John? Stephen?
Me? I don't go on holidays. We haven't had a day away this year.
Wow.
Well, Peter, we've spent, a lot of it came from insurance, but we spent over £9,000 on the dog this year with her operation.
Yeah.
So a holiday's been quite low priority to us because we'd rather have her. Yeah. But yeah, I tend to sort of post pictures, but then my house isn't totally empty because I still have one child living at home. He's not a child, he's 29. So, the house is occupied with him. Sorry?
Take me through a mood.
I didn't understand a word of that. That was obviously...
Was it Scottish?
Clearly...
That was Scottish-anese. It's time you throw them out.
But why? He's really useful to have around, to be honest. Peter, it's like anything when you're earning 20 pence over minimum wage. He's been saving like mad. He doesn't go anywhere. He goes on holiday with his mates, but apart from that, he doesn't go anywhere because he's saving like mad for a deposit. But if you think of what the building society will lend you and the price of houses where we live, it's just ridiculous. He's on 20p over basic wage, so he's on £7.70, I think it is, an hour. He works for a care company, and they'll lend him £64,000, the Halifax will, and he's been with them since he was a little tot.
And what do you get for that in Solihull?
In Solihull, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Even a one-bed studio apartment in Solihull will cost you 125,000.
Yeah, you'd have to go to Reddit, John.
But that used to be true, but it's not true anymore. You know where you used to live, and there was a Park Homes place at the big house.
Yeah, the big house. Yeah.
Even a basic unit on there is 160k now.
Crazy, isn't it?
Those prefabricated. I can't think of what the right words for them. Don't they? Park Homes, I think, is the word.
Park Home, yeah. And your challenge for today is to pronounce that correctly. That's where I used to live when John and I went back.
Wootton Waven.
Ah, I see.
No,
you see, Wootton Waven.
Yeah, just think it was all O's and Wootton Wowen.
Yeah.
It's near Stratford-upon-Avon and Henley and Arden.
It is rather. It's quite a nice area, and the houses there cost more than 64,000, as John said.
Well, my dentist lives in Wootton Wowen. It's the first house after you go over the bridge heading towards the Mother Huff Cap, and it's 1.8 million pounds.
Yeah. He's a dentist.
Yeah.
Just shows you, does it?
He's a military man just like you. Military man just like you. He learnt to be a dentist in the Air Force. He ended up as squadron leader, though, and set up for life, really, once he's done that. But he had to commit to doing 10 years, so they paid for his dental training.
Yeah. Jonathan Wass live in Wootton Woven. Jonathan Wass.
Oh. No, I will tell you a fact, though. Wootton Woven, like Devizes, has a canal running through it. So I'm slowly making my way down the canal system of the UK.
There's an echo.
There is an echo.
I don't hear an echo. If you hear an echo, it's usually you.
No, it's the other way around. No, it's the opposite way around. It's counterintuitive.
I've got my earpiece in.
Right, you're just carry on talking, Peter.
1, 2, 3.
Right, okay.
No, don't hear.
I hear no echo.
Okay, I can't hear it now. It's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, what's next on that take my mood?
No, where's the palm trees man gone?
Yeah, I was hoping that you boys, I got a topic for Stephen. Right, okay, now, Stephen's not here because he was ribbing me about this last week. He was ribbing me. He was saying Burnley were bottom of the Premier League with only 1 point from 5 games. Well, I can now report that Burnley have got 4 points from 6 games and have moved up to 17th. I just wanted to get that out in front of everybody so that you all know that Burnley are on the way up the Premiership, not staying at the bottom.
Was there any incentive there to beat your old manager?
Yeah, of course there is. I mean, but to win 4-0, I mean, come on, that's no fluke, is it? So Burnley are on the way up.
I don't know. So what do you think of West Ham last night then?
I didn't see it.
Well, they won 8-0.
Oh wow, against
Macclesfield, bottom of the entire football league. They are literally 24th in League Two.
Yeah, I've just been, if you were listening, Stephen, I've just been talking about Burnley winning 4-0 and having 4 points and not being bottom of the table. I'm not going to mention Burton, though. See? So
Knocked them out. How do you say it? Caribou Cup?
I hate that advert on television. That is the stupidest advert there's been in a long time. I don't think it should be allowed to sponsor anything or be on television. Right.
It's a drink, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I bought 2 of them the other day simply because they were 2 for £1 instead of 89p each. They were revolting.
That's what I expect. This is a triumph of marketing over content. Talking of content, I'm glad you're back, Stephen, because I want to talk about podcasting.
I just got put in the lobby.
Okay. You're back.
We couldn't see you.
Well, oh, couldn't you?
No, the screen went black.
Yeah, that's what you went into the lobby.
Yeah, it went black. Podcasting. Would you like to talk about your new podcast, sir?
I'm going to be podcasting in October. And I've got a producer. Now, John's just gone black.
No, John's okay at the moment.
It's okay, we can hear you. Carry on.
We can hear you.
So, there's a lady who is a producer, podcast producer, and we're going to do a monthly podcast on things that I find interesting. We'll see whether we do a 7th one. But she's got all the kit and all the experience. She's a BBC 5 Live, ex-BBC 5 Live, currently does stuff at BBC Radio Stoke. Uh-huh. So I'm really quite looking forward to it because, as she always says, a podcast is such an intimate connection between you and the listener, because they'll be jogging, they'll be swimming, they'll be doing whatever, but you're right in their head for as long as they're listening to you. So it's really up close and personal. So if they like, I mean, I like you. I think you all know about Freakonomics. No, you don't know about Freakonomics? Oh my God, there was a book came out about probably 10 years, 15 years ago now, and it was looking at economics and the way in which everything in the world is connected to economics and can be explained by economics. And it was a bestseller, and then there was Super Freakonomics. Now there's I think it's a weekly podcast called Freakonomics, American geezer, but so entertaining, and he has so many different views on the world. It's absolutely brilliant. Now Stephen's gone black as well.
Stephen's left the party.
I thought I'd dip my toe in, so to speak. And you can only try these things, to reach an audience. And it appears that the BBC are getting interested in it. And apparently, for podcasters, 90% of the audience comes from iTunes, which I found fascinating. There are a few other big niche players, much like Facebook was in the day for its market and its niche. There's a SoundCloud and a few other ones. Yeah. And one of the things I'll be able to do is to talk about the actual process of podcasting itself, and also a reference back and hopefully interview you guys. I don't know, whatever we can do in the future, because we've been banging on with this broadcasting thing for 2-3 years now, and
145 weeks.
We really don't know, unless you do, Stephen and Peter. I can't see John. How has it, for example, increased your business in pounds, shillings, and pence?
Well, can I just say that I done the Mousy Mo show. I can't go into the reasons why I've stopped, but we done 2 or 3 episodes of the Mousy Men show, right? 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon. Nobody turned up, apart but a couple of people turned up. Do you know how many hits that's had since? Take a guess.
1,000.
7,000. And I'll have to work out why it's been found. Would that maybe be on Facebook? When people see videos. 7,000. So I'm going to have to look at that and look at the insights into it. So although you do a live show, it might not be for now, as we keep saying. It's about regurgitating it. So what I might do, right? What I might do is do the Mousy Men show. I don't know if in Facebook adverts you're allowed. I think you're only allowed 30-second videos. Is that correct?
It's Facebook ads.
Facebook adverts.
Facebook ads can be
any
length you like. The bottom line is no.
Would you? What the other question? Can you boost a live? Could we boost this? Could Stephen boost this in his Facebook page?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Peter, maybe.
Well, what I plan to do is do the show, and I'll either boost it or do it on Facebook adverts, just to see who watch it. But what I'm going to do if I do that, I'm going to keep the show very short. Very short.
Yeah, 10-15 minutes I've been recommended.
Yeah, even less than that, and say, listen, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about moths. Hey, Gordon, what's all about moths then? What's the score? And then just go a little bit into moths, tell a wee bit about, and that's the show today. So if you've got a moth problem, give us a call.
My mate's a pest controller,
if you do that, then.
And he sent me He sent me a photo of a job he was on. And it was just while I was having my breakfast at a networking meeting. I thought, oh, Jesus, the stuff you guys have to put up with.
Yeah.
Bed bugs, Pete. Oh,
yeah.
Horrible stuff.
Great stuff.
Ooh, horrible.
Right. 2 things. John, can you just say something?
Hello, I am here. Although
Peter,
nobody seems to listen to me.
Peter, can you hear anything at all? Did you hear John then?
I hear everybody.
All right, okay. Stephen, can you hear John?
Can't hear or see John.
Right, okay. Well, one of you's got to refresh and see if it works. The other one's got to refresh and see if it works. So
I'll go first.
But I only recently refreshed, so.
Right, Stephen's going first.
Right,
okay.
Peter, if you keep it factual like that, then you can turn it into a podcast, can't you?
Yeah.
Just get the MP3 out.
But does anybody listen to podcasts? Because I certainly don't.
Well, I think that this sort of thing is fast replacing podcasts. But no, they're still more popular than you realise.
Right, okay. Time for a true story.
Right.
Have you heard of Joel.com? Joel.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Right, okay. Last year, he decided he was interested in Bitcoin and was going to find out all about it. And what he did is he got together with a Bitcoin expert and they started a weekly podcast. Yeah. We are now 12 months later, and that podcast has had, this is true story, 1 million plus listens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the market. The market is out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 52 weeks worth of podcasts have been listened to 1 million times, or one podcast.
Does it matter? Does it matter if Stephen got 1/10 of that? Would all I'm saying is the market is there, and there are more people who listen to podcasts than watch live video.
Well, I think isn't that because Bitcoin still baffles 80%, 90% of the population? What the hell is it? You know, it's blockchain underneath, and it's everybody can see what's going on, and it's anonymous and all that sort of stuff. But can you ever sort of see the bank sort of taking payment in Bitcoin, like First Direct or anything like that?
No.
The problem I see with Bitcoin, the government's looking at it and saying, we are not getting a slice of any of that money. We need to get some of that money shortly. That's the problem I see.
I think the banks are saying the same thing, aren't they?
I don't know.
What's the average person's exposure to Bitcoin? Of late, the biggest thing that's happening for most people as far as Bitcoin goes is they're receiving spam demands for Bitcoins on the basis that they're being watched on there and people are recording what they're doing using their camera and what naughty channels they've been watching. And that's the average exposure, is a demand for Bitcoin payment on a spam basis.
Right, okay.
Anyway.
And I this is not, targeted at individuals. It's a blanket thing because there's lots of ladies receiving the same demands for money.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad we bottomed that one out.
Another shout out for Wood and Wine. All right. Okay. Do any of you guys have a wine? Do you want to say that again, Stephen? Okay. Any of you have an Alexa? I probably asked this question before.
No.
On Tuesday morning, Alexa went down in the UK, all across the UK. And this highlights the basic problem behind these devices, as I see it, is that people have taken Amazon Alexa and used it to control things in the house. And, of course, when it goes down, that's it. You're stuffed.
I have to say I saw a great meme yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Old fella in the chair, Alexa device. Alexa, Alexa, Alexa. Total silence. Alexa, Alexa, Alexa. Total silence. Alexa, where the are you? And that was based on the outage. But it was amusing, much more amusing than my telling of.
Right, okay. But obviously, with more and more people using Amazon Alexa and the other devices, if it goes off, it goes off.
Mm-hmm.
No good.
Is it possible to develop apps for Alexa?
Oh yeah, and skills and apps. It's possible to have your podcast on Alexa.
Okay. But in terms of in terms of apps, could you develop an app which responded to Alexa, I need a pest controller, or Alexa, I've got bed bugs, and have Alexa promote Peter's brand?
Something to explore. I can't give you. I don't know the answer to that at the moment. But
you could probably find Alexa. Find some pest control companies in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Alexa, pest control companies in devices. She's not working. She's gone on strike.
No answer. Again.
Just when you need her, it comes off.
You know you're live on the internet.
Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 10:44 a.m.
Okay, so she's working. She just didn't know the answer to my question, or I phrased it badly, or whatever. And
just say pest controlling devices.
Okay, Alexa, pest controlling devices.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
There you go. Get in there. Get your man's name on the local Alexa.
Right.
I'll look that up.
Despite the fact that Facebook is saying that nobody's watching, we have an observation from Trish, who certainly is watching. That's true. I listen to multiple podcasts throughout the day, so there you are. All good. Okay.
The app I use most, guess what it is?
Strava.
It's LBC radio.
Ah.
That's what I use it for.
That's a 24-hour podcast, isn't it?
Well, it's not a podcast. It's an app that gives you live radio. But they also do have a podcast now, you know.
Okay, we've managed 45 minutes, but I don't think we can escape a whole show without mentioning
Brexit.
Dun,
right.
dun, dun.
Mrs. May is currently in the United States, and she meets President Trump today for the second time this week.
Oh, bloody hell.
Careful. And she says we're not becoming isolationists. We actually want to talk to the rest of the world after we leave the EU, which is stems of something obvious, really.
Yeah.
I mean, but talking of Brexit and talking of this week, Stephen, the leader of the Labour Party this week, how did he acquit himself?
Breaking up.
How did the leader of the Labour
That's the correct answer.
Alexa, what's the latest in Jeremy Corbyn? Is he still in hiding?
Alexa can't hear you.
Just remember that Jez has had a brilliant week, right? He's had a conference where even his enemies have started. Hello, some dips there. He's had a brilliant conference. Labour's had a brilliant conference. They're batting against an open goal. That's wrong analogy. Because the Tories are in absolute disasterville. Their membership is decreasing. Soon there'll only be Peter and his, I was going to be rude, mates in the party. And next week we've got the Tories. If that's not a recipe for comedy,
I'm going to tell you something.
I'm so looking. Just you hang on there, brother. Sorry, comrade. It's going to be bloody hilarious watching May. Hopefully the set will stay up this time, and she won't get cough.
What?
It's going to be so funny. See what she says about Brexit, and then they all vote against her. Sorry, Pete, you were saying?
Yeah, just as funny as he's defending anti-Semitism, but it doesn't matter. Right, listen.
Yeah.
I win.
Now, you are not going to believe it. Now, with BNI, especially my chapter, you've really got to give us a specific person you're looking for. And you're not going to believe this was what I said this week. I stood up and I said, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Peter Stewart of Aberkill, and I'm doing something in my life that I've never done before. I am going to vote Labour. And I am actually looking for a referral to speak to Jeremy Corbyn. And here is why. Because he's going to be green and he's going to put solar panels all over Britain, which will be good for me because I stop pigeons going underneath them. Bit of self-interest there, of course." And somebody was absolutely...
I love what you're saying, Peter. Oh, mistaken though you obviously are. But Corbyn's talking about 400,000 jobs being created for the green economy. And looks like you're taking that on board. So well done, mate. The great conversion. I'll have a word with Jeremy next time I see him, and I'll say there's a particular wee Scotsman who you need to talk to.
I put him down for a referral to speak to, and I've seen somebody actually writing down Jeremy Corbyn.
Followed by a question mark. No, I didn't say that. Right, and say good morning to Nazim in Milano, and saying, "Morning, gents. How's the weather? The weather here is as far as we know, gorgeous across the whole country, and it's gorgeous in Italy as well. Right now, would you use? I just want to find the bit I wrote. There's a new bank opened up today, and it's by Goldman Sachs, and it's called Marcus. It's online banking only, and its pull is that it pays 1.5% interest plus a 0.15% bonus as well if you abide by the rules. Okay, would you switch to a totally online bank?
Yeah.
No.
John?
I've been with the same bank since I was 6. So
Right.
at 62, I think the chances of me changing bank is about 0.
Okay.
And
Not technology issues or anything, but just habit.
So shout out to.
You're the kind of customer they like. But I still use checks in my business. People, not because mine's is an outsourced bookkeeping. I don't like the access my online banking, and I write checks. And the customer, could you pay me by backs order? I just wrote back, no, you'll be getting a check. And that was the end of that. And he accepted the check. I still accept it.
Right.
But no, I think we might go back to that, because once all these frauds keep on happening, folks say, do you know something? I think I'll start writing checks again instead of paying online.
They never stopped in the US.
That costs you money, though, doesn't it, Peter?
No, because if it costs 25 pence, you put £1 on an old woman's bill for that.
Oh, God. Right. Okay. On that note, we go back to Italy.
Learn economics, my friend.
Question
so if it's into freakonomics, you're into robonomics, yeah?
Yeah.
You know how people have extracts from the shows and use them in, this happened last time. that one.
Highlight reels. Clips. Right, just to answer Nazeem's question, it's backed by Goldman Sachs, one of the largest US banks. It's a first foray with a new, cheaper bank for people who don't have the money to put into the Goldman Sachs bank. Right, okay, launches today. Okay, I'm looking for topics. Anything you'd like to mention, friends, today? Peter, Stephen, John?
It's all going spiffingly well at Stoke City.
Almost as well as the Villa.
What's happening there?
Sorry?
What's happening with the Villa?
Well, we keep losing just the same as you do, so what's the difference? There's only about 3 points between us.
Jesus Christ. Are you going to sack your manager soon?
You're 15th.
We're 15th?
I think it's 15th, yeah. We're 13th, or it was on Saturday. Don't know whether there's been any since, but
it's just going crap. And you guys you're off the bottom now, Peter, Stephen.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're on our way up. We're going to be 8th this year. That's the prediction, and a hope, and wishful thinking probably.
You've got to make a list of these sort of things, because
it's okay.
Do you know what I reckon we'll end up being 9th, because we were 9th for about six seasons in the Premier League, and the best we're going to get is that. We're not doing very well. Not doing very well at all.
You're 18th, actually, not 15th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're in a band of 4 with 9 points. So 1 point would take you up 4 places. So.
And 3 points would take us like a few more places, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And Nazeem is saying, let's talk about
anyway, isn't it?
It's what, mate?
When did you get the cold shoulder?
Total chaos here.
Well, cold shoulder of lamb. Nice cold shoulder of lamb.
I always said that Theresa May would take the flak all the way along, right? Theresa May was brought up there. She'll take the flak from everybody. Then one day she's going to say, enough is enough. Here's our deal. If you don't like our deal, come up with a proposal. If we don't like it, we're going on to the World Trade Organization. Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen. And all the other European 27 languages of us say cheerio, and if you want to deal with this, it'll be WTO. You had your chance, shut the door, here's your keys back. Goodbye. Oh, forget the 39 billion. Bam.
Here's your euro key. You can give it to her yourself.
No,
that
is what is going to happen with Theresa May. Guaranteed. She'll shock everybody.
She's definitely going to shock everybody, but I don't know whether it's going to be along the lines you're saying, Peter. I just want to change the subject because it's safer to do so.
I don't know. It's good. Come on.
Oh, how boring. How boring.
All right.
Do you know that the Americans will love this? They don't want to tell you this. They love all this, you know. Because it's true. It's the true feeling of Britain just now. It's the true feeling.
You're the true feeling of Britain, are you?
No, everybody.
Yeah, the true feeling of Britain is, could we stop this farce and get on with life?
Yeah. Because the problem is, if they get their second people's vote with this Remain in it, I'll tell you, if that gets through, there is going to be pandemonium in this country like you've never seen before. And the Tories can forget getting re-elected. They will go right to the bottom of the pit if that happens. Because the population, 17 million, said we want out.
They haven't, though. They were told lies on which
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They were told lies by everybody.
Now they want to vote on the reality of life. Now they've seen what the reality is of 18 months of arguing.
They all got the chance to look at it and say, I'm not saying if that is that true, I don't know. Is that true? I don't know.
Look, this is just two people's fault. Boris and his mate. If Boris and his mate hadn't told all those lies that we put 350 million in the NHS and that we'd stop immigration, we wouldn't even be discussing this today.
It's not all down to one 350 million figure.
Yeah, there are many more lies, mate.
Well, listen, Cameron went over to Europe and asked them, any chance of getting a deal? And they say, on your bike, get out of here. How dare you ask? And that was it.
I'm going to bring in a calming influence all the way from Milano, Italy. And we'll say hello to Nazim.
Hello, Nazim.
Or we will in a second.
He's scared to come in.
Come on, buongiorno, come on.
Now, gentlemen.
Getting close in, Nazim.
Right. What are you saying? Quick. What's your point?
Okay, so basically, you guys staying away from the topics that are make for quite interesting banter.
Mm-hmm. Well, they do. They do. They're
I mean, I think we're going to here in Italy. We're going to probably exit quicker than anybody else in the whole.
Right. Okay. I am really interested to know what's happening in Italy just now. What's happening? What's the consensus?
The consensus is very bad, my friends. As I'm quite worried. I'm quite worried because there's a fascist.
Is anybody there?
There's a fascist uprising in this country. And the populist movement is really anti-government, anti-migrants, anti-everything, but without a logical approach to how to solve all these issues. And they're kind of going against what you know, the sort of democracy that this country has kind of put into place. So my friends are quite worried. The Democratic Party is disappeared from the planet. They don't exist anymore. And my wife's worried too. And I don't foresee that we're going to move back to the United States. But I'm concerned about Italy.
But Why has it got to that stage?
I think what has happened is the parties that were involved in the last 25 years, be it Berlusconi, central right or right, whatever, and the Democratic Party, which was Renzi, have not listened to the people. So
they've not listened to the people. Where have I heard that before?
it kind of rings a bell with a little bit of what happens in the UK and what in the times that I've heard you gentlemen talk about the subject and what I've been reading on The Guardian and other interesting papers that I like to read. But I think we're starting to see this parallels also in other places in Europe.
Yeah.
So obviously Brussels is not listening to this. They are on an austerity-based system that is worse than any sort of system that the World Bank would put into place. And the countries are not able to maintain themselves inside those parameters, and they want results. And people are starting to look at the governments and say, like, you guys are not giving us what we need. So I do see some major social tensions in relatively soon time. I don't want to sound pessimistic, but here in Italy, they're already saying that they're going to go past the parameters that the EU has imposed on the debt, which is huge here. But if you look at it, if you look at everything around the world, I mean, the debt is huge in America. The debt is huge, and there's very few countries that don't have debt issues. So I don't know. I'm not that optimistic.
See, this is what happened.
And your bank stocks have all fallen dramatically today, haven't they? With the budget delay.
Thank you. The spread is going off the roof, which puts the country more into debt. And what's very interesting is I read a very good article in which it's basically the Italian people have very big reserves in regards to savings. They are not a debt-oriented society. It's just the government that's put the country into debt. So the fact that the banks are having issues, people are starting to get nervous. I don't foresee Greece. I don't foresee Greece, but the constant conversation that we're going to be the next Greece does not help the cause either.
Right. Now, here's a question for you. Is Italy regarded as left-wing at the moment? Is it democratic?
Peter's disappeared. I can't see Stephen, and t'other Stephen looks like he's falling asleep in his chair.
We can still see him. Right. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
So,
It's perfect.
Okay.
If it got that bad, would you go back to the States?
No. I've been here for 26 years. I talk to my friends constantly in Miami, New York, San Francisco, and if it's America's become it's very rich people, and the middle class is jumping to the very poor. There's no in between. So to rebuild a career at 56 in America, no. At 58, I knocked 2 years off.
But how's another question? What can people in Italy see? What are they saying about Britain at the moment?
I don't know. I'm fairly close to retirement age now, so I'm fortunate. I don't have a mortgage anymore. I recently got rid of that, but I'm still worried that I'm not going to have enough money to live in retirement because of the way all these things are zinging round.
I think that's a major concern of a lot of people, because I pay my Social Security in the United States, and I keep reading these articles that system is going to go bankrupt, and I would not imagine that they would let that happen. What's going to happen is they're just going to add additional taxes to cover that.
This is interesting. Peter can hear Nazim. Nazim can hear Peter. John can hear Nazim, but John can't hear Peter. I can hear everybody.
I can't see Peter either. It's just a black square.
Peter, over to you.
What we've done in the army is if one tank can speak to
can't
the
hear
other,
anything from Peter.
So
he needs to refresh.
They'll join the thingy. So what we've done is we relayed a tank that could hear everybody.
I can't hear Peter.
We relayed it through to
Yes,
you.
I know, but he is speaking, John. Can you keep quiet a sec?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So, I'm going to ask a question.
Pointless if I can't hear him.
What you'll hear the answer though. Right. So, What are people in Italy saying about Britain at the moment? What's the consensus from what they see at the moment?
The consensus of people from in Italy looking at the situation in Britain is that it's not a very simple situation to get resolved. There was a referendum, but at least the conversation is here is that the UK had a referendum. There was a vote from the people to decide to pull out or to stay in the pseudo agreement. We never had that here in Italy. What we had in Italy was the president at the moment of the Democratic Party, Prodi, the prime minister, decided that we are part of Europe in 20 years ago. So people here feel that the fact that we didn't get a chance to vote is quite strange. Other countries got a chance to have a referendum to decide to join the EU or not to join the EU. So right now, what's happening is that the current government, which is a coalition between the populist movement and the North League Salvini guy, which is very gun-ho on pulling out of Europe, he's going to bring up the situation of let's go and do a referendum to pull out. But right now, the tactics that the government in Italy is using are just threatening the EU and saying we're not going to do this. And that's very dangerous because there's manipulation from the markets that could very definitely be
What do you think the result would be if it was a yes or no, black or white, yes or no, out or in? What do you think it would be?
That would be, I'm not an economist, and I think 20 years of investing in sacrifices to be part of a pseudo united coin, which is, there's such an experiment of having a unique coin like the euro it's not, I don't see any continent else in the world where it has occurred. So, there's a major investment in the same thing. But when you read about the policies that are in place and how Brussels deals with things, you realize that it's just based on the monetary, and that's it. Everything else has not really been thought through.
So that wasn't a yes or a no from you. You'd make a good politician. Now listen.
Right.
Now what about?
I have no clue what Peter's saying.
Do they know that it's over there? The mamas, do they know their sons and daughters will be conscripted into a European army in the future?
I know what you're talking about. And obviously, Peter, there's a very good point that you bring up in the sense that right now, if you look at the policy that America has at the moment, Trump is gun-ho on destroying the EU. He wants to get rid of the EU at any possible cost.
Yeah, but do they know that they'll be joining the European army?
That's all conjecture. Anyway, gentlemen.
It's not. They've already said it. They've already said it.
Well, the point is that we've gotten off track.
Well, listen. Thanks very much for letting us know from another point of view.
Okay.
Right.
I can see Peter now. He's come back.
He's never been anywhere.
Let's go back to the UK-based subjects, and thanks for letting me in, gentlemen.
You're welcome, Nazim, at any time. And it's time for John to say the final closing note of the show.
What happened to Stephen? Did he just disappear, or?
He disappeared, yeah.
He'd had enough. We'll keep the red flag flying high. Oh, flying high up in the sky.
We're going to get taken off air. Anyway, to everybody who's watched today, as John's gone quiet, thank you for joining us today.
I can say goodbye. I just couldn't compete with the singing of the red flag, I think he should be in Blackpool, isn't it? Isn't it Blackpool, or is it Liverpool? Somewhere like that, anyway. Stephen went for a pint. Even here, it's a bit early for a pint.
Yeah.
So, it's goodbye from him over there. That's the man in Scotland. Goodbye from the palm trees in Stoke-on-Trent. And goodbye from watery Wiltshire, the land of canals. And goodbye from Solihull. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next week. Same time.
Auf Wiederhören. Sehen.